This story's hilarious. When this girl was little, for some reason, she thought sneezing was hilarious. The scene in Beauty and the Beast where Belle's dad sneezes in his workshop and dust flies everywhere, she loved it. She would rewind it and watch it over and over again. Well, one day, when she was in kindergarten, she somehow found out that a student who was in first grade was very allergic to pollen. So she had an idea. Every day at recess, she would go outside, pick a handful of dandelions, and chase her around the playground. Come here, come here. No. And when she would get close enough, she would shove the dandelions in this girl's face. Well, it got to a point where one day at recess, she was chasing her around with dandelions as usual. But this time, the reaction was more than a sneeze. She was sent to the hospital. And from that day on, whenever she wanted to watch someone sneeze, she would just go on YouTube. A subscriber's 5th grade story. So this one comes from a subscriber who said, back in 5th grade, his homeroom teacher was just completely mean, always mad about something. Well, one day in class, his friend made a funny face at him, and he giggled. That's it, just a giggle, no big deal, right? Well, when he got home that day, his parents were furious. They said that the teacher had emailed them, saying that he was laying on the ground laughing at the teacher, making fun of her, and mocking her, which never happened. He tried to explain, that's not what happened, I was just giggling at my friend. And his parents didn't believe him. And this didn't just happen once. It happened again and again and again. Each time the teacher would exaggerate a straight up lie in these emails home. Eventually his parents started to notice that something was off. And they brought it up to the principal. But the teacher didn't stop. One day she gave him 2 detentions back to back. And during one of those detentions, she walked into the room and said to his face, you know something, you should really stop doing sports because you're obviously never gonna make it anywhere. You should just focus on your schoolwork and maybe you won't end up in detention. Okay? Have a good one. Bro. Once his parents found out that she said that, they told the principal. Once the principal found out that she said that, she was done. She got fired. Good riddance. AI killed his essay writing business, so he started a genius new business. After he realized AI has been causing his essay writing business huge problems for obvious reasons, he decided to start something brand new. It's called Grubby AI. Grubby AI is a tool used to humanize text and bypass AI detectors. You just put your AI content right here, press humanize, and there you go. Grubby AI is guaranteed to bypass AI detection, and to be honest, this might be the only thing of its kind out there right now. It's absolutely genius. This is the Plod Note. It's a ChatGPT voice recorder, and with this, you'll never have to take notes ever again. It records meetings, entire phone calls, it attaches to your phone, and then in the app, it'll list the most important details and summarize the conversation or the meeting or the lecture. It's super sleek as well and small, and the battery lasts forever. The Plod Note is a game changer. I'm gonna use it for everything. The worst Halloween costume ever, so this kid really wanted to be Pennywise for Halloween. He was very, very excited. So his mom ordered him a Pennywise costume. The costume came in and he tried it on. And this is what the costume looked like. This teacher straight up embarrassed herself. Back in 3rd grade, this teacher was doing a lesson on animals. So, can anybody name me a mammal? This one kid, we'll call him Mason, raised his hand excitedly. Oh, a platypus! The teacher kind of frowned. Oh, no, sweetie, mammals don't lay eggs, and platypuses lay eggs. It's a bird. You are wrong. Mason looked confused, but the platypus is a mammal. Don't you argue with me, it's unbecoming. I'm not arguing, now you're being disrespectful. Mason just sat there quietly. But that night, he did some work of his own. The next day, Mason came into school with printouts, scientific articles, diagrams, highlighted textbook pages. This kid had evidence. He was ready to prove this teacher wrong. So in class, he walked right up to her desk, and in front of the entire class, he said, "Excuse me? Just so you know, the platypus is a mammal. Look, it lays eggs, but it still makes milk, and that's what makes it a mammal. I've been teaching for 15 years. I think, yeah, and you've been wrong for every single one of them." Boom. Class exploded. At this point, the teacher was fuming. "Go to the office now." But when he explained what happened to the principal, even the principal was like, "Yeah, man, you're right. Platypus is a mammal." And he didn't get in trouble at all. After that day, Mason never got another question wrong in that class because she never called on him again. There was a rumor that a kid at this school wasn't allowed to take tests. What? Quizzes, no exams, no finals, nothing. At first, everyone thought he was faking it, like, okay bro, test anxiety isn't a personality, get over it. But then the truth came out. This kid barely talked to anybody. No backpack, no pencil case, just showed up, sat down, and left. And every time there was a test, he was suddenly gone, like clockwork. People started making jokes like, he's got a medical exemption from Scantrons, or he's so smart they don't need to test him. But then one day a teacher slipped up. She was handing back test scores and looked straight at him and said, "Oh right, you don't take these." And he just nodded like it was completely normal. Turns out his dad was one of the district lawyers. And a few years back, the school messed up his IEP so badly that his family sued. IEP stands for Individualized Education Program. Well, like I said, his family sued, and they won. And part of the settlement, he didn't have to take any standardized tests until graduation. So yeah, the rumor was real. He had a real legal pass to never take a test ever again.
Okay, so I have the Bulldog ramen, but this time it's 2 times spicy. So I thought this one was spicy, but this one looks crazy.
Now we're gonna boil some water. Now that it's boiling, we put this into the boiling for 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes, now we drain the water. Now it says to add the 2 times spicy hot sauce. Then you add, last step is the pepper flakes. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I think if you like spicy stuff, this is gonna be awesome for you. I'm not sure how I'm gonna handle it, so I'm gonna take one bite. Let's see. Delicious, but very, very spicy.
Black markets kids ran in their schools. This one is absolutely insane. So this kid in middle school ran a revenge business. He wouldn't hurt anybody at all. That wasn't part of his business. But anything aside from that had a price. He carried a notebook around with suggestions of things he could do for revenge. If somebody wanted to get revenge on a classmate or something, they would come, look at his notebook, see what they can afford, and then hire him to perform that revenge plot. If somebody wanted to get the ultimate revenge, they would pay him for the ultimate package. And this is what it is. This kid would get a garbage can, fill it with milk, eggs, meat, and roadkill that he would find on the side of the road. He would then put the lid on it and keep it out in his backyard in the heat until it started to rot. Then he would bring this garbage can to the person that he was hired to get revenge on. He would take the lid off, lean the garbage can against the door, knock on the door, and run away. Now, when someone in the house opened the door to answer it, that garbage can would fall in and spill everything everywhere, causing a rotten, disgusting, smelly mess. He told me he was never caught, he never got in trouble, and he made over $700. Businesses kids ran in their school. When this kid was in 5th grade, his parents always bought packets of those Mini Bites muffins, which personally I love. But for some reason, these muffins made this kid's throat hurt. But no matter how many times he told his parents, they still continued to buy those muffins. Every day, this kid's parents would put a pack of those muffins in his lunchbox, and every day during lunch, he would throw those muffins away because he did not like them, like I said. Well, one day a kid saw him throwing those away. "Hey bro, why are you throwing those away?" He said, "I don't like them at all. They make my throat hurt, but my parents keep buying them, so I just throw them away." Well, that's when this kid said, "Dude, those are awesome. Why would you throw them away? I bet you many kids would buy those." And he got an idea. He soon started selling them. He began asking his parents to give him 2 for lunch every day instead of 1, and he gathered a bunch up. His parents had to start buying more boxes of these muffins because they thought their kid loved them. But little did they know, he was gathering a stockpile of these muffins up in his locker so he could sell them to students, and that's exactly what he did. He sold them to students, sometimes for $2 a bag, sometimes for $5 a bag, sometimes, depending on how desperate somebody was, he would sell it for $15 a bag. And he ran this business for a few years. He kept a notebook of how much he made. And from 5th grade until the end of middle school, he made around $3,500. Gotta respect the hustle. This mom said her son is 12 years old and he loves to play Fortnite. Well, at the end of that particular school year, she saw his final grades, and they were terrible. She was really disappointed in him and was trying to think of a way to punish him, to make him learn a lesson. And she thought of his Fortnite account. So she went on there and permanently deleted it. This kid was freaking out, crying, screaming. He said that he had spent 2.5 years working on that Fortnite account, and that he had some really rare skins. Now this kid refuses to eat dinner with his family and is not talking to his mom at all. She told him that he is responsible for this because he is the one that got bad grades. He thinks that she went way overboard. What do you think? Crazy things that happened at a friend's house. When this kid was in middle school, one night he was having dinner at his friend's house with his friend's family. The dinner went well. The food was really good. But once everyone was done eating, the mom did something kind of repulsive. She took everyone's plates and put them on the floor. She then called the family dog into the kitchen and had the dog lick all of those plates clean. The mom then put those plates that the dog just licked clean back into the cupboard, and everyone in that family acted like it was completely normal. He said he was disgusted and he threw up that night because he was probably eating his food off of a dog-licked plate. He never went to that house ever again.
So teachers are starting to realize that kids are using ChatGPT. There's a website called Quillbot, which you'll go here and get the paper. Then you take it from there, put it on Quillbot. Then Quillbot makes it seem like you wrote it, so the school cannot track.
Not anymore. Quillbot is detectable, as you can see right here. I mean, this is the proof. Quillbot does not work anymore, but there is a solution. Use this tool instead to beat Turnitin and GPT-0, and it's completely free. It's called Grubby AI, and it's an incredibly effective AI text humanizer that is 100% undetectable by AI detectors. School's right around the corner, and I think this thing's gonna save your life. Wait, is he breathing? No, he's fine. He's built for this. This kid walks into class one day, and he realizes there's a quiz. Well, he didn't study at all. So instead of taking a 0, he decides to take a gamble. You see, there was this massive beanbag chair in the back of the classroom. Like one of those giant overstuffed ones that sinks when you sit in it, almost like it's quicksand. Well, this kid, he was small. Like strategically small. You know? The kind of kid who can blend in anywhere if he wanted to. So he gets into class a little bit early. He looks at the beanbag and then he looks at the clock. Oh. Okay. And he just goes for it. He walks to the back of the room, lowers himself in the beanbag, and just disappears. And it completely swallows him. Gone. No limbs, no face, just beanbag. From the teacher's desk, it looks empty back there. Just looked like a normal beanbag. She hands out the quiz, starts the timer, and doesn't say a word. She assumes this kid's absent. Meanwhile, he's just inside this beanbag, curled up in silence, just riding it out. And just as the bell rings and everybody else is grabbing their stuff, getting ready to leave the classroom, he rises from this beanbag like a ghost and just walks out. And to this day, that teacher still thinks he was absent on that quiz day. That's absolutely crazy. This kid got blamed for something he didn't do. This one day at this one high school, during their free period, a kid was eating lunch outside by the football field, while a couple of students were kicking and throwing around a football. This kid, let's call him Steven, was sitting nearby. He wasn't playing, he was just eating his lunch. Suddenly, go long! Crash. One of the football players accidentally threw the football at the school window and it shattered. A teacher comes sprinting out of the building. Hey yo, who threw that? Everyone's frozen. Then one kid pointed to Steven. It was him. He kicked it. What? I wasn't even playing. But the teacher was already on the walkie-talkie. You got a broken window. Student responsible has been identified. Come with me. Steven is dragged to the office. They pull up security footage, but the camera angle cuts off right before the area where Steven was eating and they were playing, so it was useless. So, they just take the other kid's word for it. Steven gets 2 days of in-school suspension, and he has to pay $147 to fix the window. And the worst part? 2 weeks later, the kid that blamed him brags about it in the locker room. Yeah, I just didn't want to get in trouble and Steven was sitting there anyway. It was perfect. One kid heard it, went to the office to tell the principal. You'd think they would apologize, right? Nope. They just said, yeah, well, the case has already been handled. It's done, so nothing to do about it now. But thanks for letting me know, eh? And that's the dumbest reason I've seen anybody get into trouble ever. Justice for Steven, man. That ain't right.
This device can save your computer and other things from power cuts. It's called the Golden Mate. You plug it into the wall and there's 4 outlets on the back right here.
You can then plug in stuff like your computer or your Wi-Fi router, and if the power ever goes out,
this thing takes over, allowing you to quickly save and safely shut down everything without hurting your device or losing stuff.
All right, let me show you. So I have my computer plugged into the Golden Mate, and the Golden Mate is plugged into the wall. All right, the Golden Mate is on, my computer is on, but watch what happens when I unplug the Golden Mate itself. Like I said, it's still running and it's going to take care of your equipment while you safely shut it down and save your files and whatnot. This thing is great. Plus, it looks awesome. This thing would also be amazing for like medical equipment. Say you have some important medical equipment and the power goes out, that stuff would keep running while you figure out your next move.
Click that cart right now to get your very own golden mate and keep your devices protected. I promise it's worth it.
This kid got life advice from a guy eating string cheese. This kid was 14. He was having a rough week. He was failing a class, his friends were acting super weird. He had just gotten into a fight with his mom, who said, "You know what, why don't you take a walk and don't come back till you figure yourself out." Oof, tough break. So he left. He went to a park and sat on a bench. Just sitting there, staring at a duck that looked as lost as he felt. Quack, quack, quack. Then this guy walks by, mid-30s, fishing hat on and a pole in hand, and he was eating string cheese. But he was eating it like a menace, not peeling it, just munching right into it. The guy slows down and goes, "Hey, you good?" This kid doesn't answer, he just shrugs. The guy nods like he gets it, and he says, "Cool. Just remember this, most stuff doesn't make sense when you're in it, but it will later. So don't quit until it starts to make sense, alright?" This guy takes one last bite of his string cheese, throws the wrapper in the trash, and adds one last thing. Also, learn to cook one thing really well. That's important. That kid never saw that guy ever again. But he went home, and he made scrambled eggs. And honestly, they weren't that bad. Respect to that guy. One day in middle school, this kid was in math class, completely bored out of his mind. So instead of reviewing the packet he was given, he was doodling a picture in his notebook. He was sketching a cartoon of that teacher. Weird haircut, holding a ruler like it's a sword. I mean, it was kind of brutal, but it was funny. Well, suddenly the teacher walks by and she sees it. "Is this supposed to be me?" "No." She snatches the paper, holds it up like it's evidence. "Think this is funny? Office, now." He's like, "Yep, I'm done for. Detention for sure." He walks down to the principal's office, nervous. He gets in there and he hands the principal the picture that he drew of his teacher, expecting the worst. The principal stares at it, silent for a second, and then he bursts out laughing. Okay. All right, first of all, man, this is spot on. Kudos to you. Second of all, I've been telling her to fix her hair for 3 years. Really? Oh, yeah. Hey, pass me that red marker. Okay. He takes the red marker and draws flames behind her in the picture. Boom. Now it's art. I'm gonna keep this, all right? For me. Go to class, man. You're good. Huh. All right. No detention, no punishment, just a really cool interaction with a super cool principal. That's awesome. Listen to this. This guy said that he recently graduated high school, and it was his 18th birthday. His parents took him on a cruise. "All right, son, for your graduation and for your 18th birthday, we are going on a cruise. Happy birthday, son." Oh my God, thank you guys so much. I'm so excited. How long is the cruise? It's a week-long cruise. Now, none of them have ever been on a cruise before. But this kid had friends who went on, so he knew what to expect. So he told his parents, "All right, Mom, Dad, I was doing some research. Cruises are different than regular vacations, okay? We have to follow the schedule, especially when we're on the excursions on the islands. Can we do that?" "Yeah, son, of course we can." "Yeah, son, of course we..." "Honey, please." Well, it was 2 days into the cruise and the ship had stopped at an island. This kid's parents were shopping and bargaining with locals. They were having a good time. But it was time to head back to the ship. "Oh my gosh, you guys, we better head back to the ship now." "Hold on, son, I'm talking to this man. I'll give you $20 for the backpack." "Fine, I'm heading back." He gets on and the boat immediately takes off. Without his parents. They were mad. "I cannot believe you. Thanks for ruining our vacation." They had to then book and take a flight to the next island to catch up with the ship. They didn't talk to him for the rest of the trip. They blame him for not making the boat wait for them, which is absolutely bogus. 5 disgusting school lunches. Up first, we have a chili dog type lunch. And this one's not horrible, but it definitely does not look very appetizing. Up next was from a school that was serving chicken sandwiches one day. And this was the chicken sandwich that they were serving. Next, this is a meatloaf meal, I think. Is that meatloaf? I don't really know. It's definitely a super weird thing to serve at school lunch. Alright, this next school was serving pizza and mozzarella sticks one day. And here is a picture of that lunch. The pizza doesn't look cooked, the mozzarella sticks look nasty, and what are those? Garbanzo beans? Disgusting. And last but not least, another school lunch pizza, but this one was completely molded. Whoever served this to students should be fired. So I've had this dream multiple times in the past week or so, and I wrote it down. I'm running around this large, futuristic city. I knew that there was a creepy and strange man that was chasing me and my friends. He would get close, and then we would run to another place and hide. He never caught up to us, but he was always very close. I woke up as he was about to find us. Weird dream, but I wanted to know what it meant. So I did some digging and I found this app called Yoru X, and they actually interpret your dreams for you. So I got it, I copied the dream that I wrote down, and I pasted it inside their app. And they gave me a dream interpretation. Okay, that actually makes perfect sense. Pretty thorough interpretation as well. I like this. The app's called Yoru X. If you have any crazy dreams, try it out and leave your dream interpretations in the comments. I want to hear them. Well, this principal had a secret. This person said that back in 8th grade, there was a principal named Mr. Reynolds, and Mr. Reynolds was way too intense. He had this whole no phones in school rule, but he took it to a weird level. If he even saw the outline of your phone in your pocket, he would stop you in the hallway. Give it to me. No, I'm not even using it. Doesn't matter, you know the rules. And the worst part, he'd keep it locked in his office until the end of the day. And if it was like the 3rd or 4th time he had to take your phone away from you, your parents would have to come in and get it. So absolutely just crazy. Well, this one girl, let's call her Ashley. She had had enough. He took her phone one day for checking the time during lunch. Give me that! I'm literally checking the time. You know the rules. So the next day, she told her older brother, who was already graduated but still had friends at the school. And he came up with a plan. Got you, sis. That weekend, Ashley's brother made a fake email address, pretending to be from the school's IT department. And he sent an email to the school board, saying there was suspicious activity coming from the principal's computer. Send. Take that, Mr. Reynolds. Now, he was just trying to make Mr. Reynolds' life a living hell. He didn't think anything of it, really. Just to mess with him real bad. But on Monday, an actual person from the school district showed up at that school. Turns out, Mr. Reynolds had a handful of students' phones backed up on his computer. He found out how to bypass passcodes, and some of them didn't even have passcodes, so he was just uploading stuff to his computer. Text messages, photos, everything. A complete invasion of privacy and super, super creepy. And he was fired on the spot. So Ashley's brother, trying to prank the principal, turned out to be something that actually needed to happen. This dude was messed up. No goodbyes, just walked out the building while the students watched. Get a life, loser! Screw you, Mr. Reynolds! You're a freaking creep! Bye! Ashley got her phone back, and the students got a principal that actually cared about them. A woman was living inside a family fair sign in Michigan. On April 23rd last month, some contractors were working on something at this family fair store in Michigan when they noticed a very long extension cord leading up to the roof. They got to the roof, and they saw the cord going directly into the small door of the family fair sign. They decided to knock on the door, and that's when they heard a woman's voice. They were obviously startled, so they called the police.
Yeah, I was trying to get my stuff so I can get down right away. I'm moving out of here in 24 hours to get away from all of this.
You're coming out right now.
The inside of the sign was about 5 feet by 8 feet, and this woman had been living there for a year. She had put flooring down. There was a Keurig coffee machine, a small bed with bedding, her clothes, a mini desk, and a printer. And all of this stuff was powered by that extension cord. They called her the Roof Ninja.
Not too bright out here, that's good.
Black markets kids ran in their schools. Another peanut butter and jelly story. So this one high school had a cafe, and the cafe sold peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for $4 each. $4 for a PB&J. That's insane. Well, one student had a great idea, and it's kind of similar to a previous story I told. She bought bread, peanut butter, and jelly, and left it in her locker. And all people had to do was shoot her a text if they wanted a PB&J. They would go to her locker and she would make them one. For only $2 each. Well, the students loved this. It was super convenient and business was absolutely booming. Well, the school shut her down pretty quick. They said that she was taking away business from somebody that needed the money more. What? Black markets kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. When this girl was in middle school, she once brought a few glow sticks to a school dance. The kids that saw them kept asking her if she had any more. So she had an idea. She went to the store and bought 12 packs of 24 glow sticks for $1 each. And then at the next dance, she stood by the entrance and sold them to the kids coming in. That night, she sold out and made $288. Well, the teachers didn't really like what she was doing, so they made her an offer. They said she could set up a table and sell the glow sticks right next to the snack table. Otherwise, she can't sell them anymore. All she would have to do was give the school a tiny bit of the profits. She said yes, and after that, she still made about $300 a dance.
I'm constantly ruining my shoes. Look at these Hokas. These are brand new. So I wanted something that's gonna last. I ordered some Nordiv 8's military hiking boots. Yeah, for under $100, these things are insane, and they're definitely gonna last me. I'm so excited.
Dumb reasons people broke up. So this person was an EMT, and she was on a second date with somebody. They went to the movies, and they were seeing Twilight, New Moon. Well, about halfway through the movie, she noticed a man 3 rows ahead of her having a seizure. Oh my god. What? That guy's having a seizure. He's fine, just watch. But she knew that he obviously wasn't fine, so she made the theater stop the movie. Stop the film! Stop the film! She then went up to the guy and helped him out until the ambulance showed up. After the guy was taken to the hospital, she noticed her date had left, but he sent her a text. He said that he couldn't believe she made the theater stop the movie for some guy, and that she should have never done that, and that he never wanted to see her ever again. That's nuts. This is the weirdest school business I've ever heard of. My father was sent me the story. When she was in 3rd grade, she would bring her pet turtle to school a couple times a week, and she would charge kids $5 a minute to hold the turtle. And people actually paid. I guess they really liked turtles.
I like turtles. All right.
Business was booming, so one day she upped the price to $10 a minute, and kids were still paying to hold her turtle. But she was starting to get money hungry, so she tried to up the charges to $15 a minute to hold her turtle. Well, one kid had enough of her raising the price, so he told the teacher, and the business was shut down. She made $700 in total. This person is the worst. So this guy was on a first date with this woman that he just met. They were having dinner and it was a good time. She then started talking about a time when she was in high school. Her favorite car was a Jaguar, and she really wanted one. But her dad bought her a Prius instead. She wasn't very happy, so she crashed that Prius on purpose. Now that the Prius was crashed, she thought her dad was gonna get her the Jaguar. But no, he bought her another Prius. Once again, she was very upset, so she crashed the Prius again. Her dad must have learned his lesson, because then he bought her a Jaguar. Talk about spoiled. The pepperoni pizza's been eaten. How is that possible? It started with pizza. On pizza days, this cafeteria made only like 30 slices of pepperoni pizza. And when it was gone, it was gone. No backup, no mercy. And there was this one kid, let's call him Darren. He lived for that pizza. Yo, I live for that pizza. He would sprint to lunch every single pizza day just to make sure he gets it. Oh, yes. But one pizza day, he got to lunch a little late. And when he got to the front of the line, it's gone? Oh, man. Just cheese left. He was mad, but he held it in. The next pizza day, he left for lunch even earlier. He was jogging to the cafeteria, practically. I'm gonna get it this time. And again, gone. 2 pizza days in a row, gone before he even got there. On the next pizza day, just as the lunch bell was ringing, the fire alarm went off. The whole school evacuated. They were pretty sure it was a standard fire drill. It took about 30 minutes to clear. All right, single file line, everybody out of the school, just to drill. Come on. Now, like I said, this happened right before lunch even started. But when they came back in, the lunch ladies noticed that somebody ate the pepperoni pizza. How was that possible? The pepperoni tray was supposed to be sealed. The full pan, it was half gone. Well, they were obviously super curious as to where this pizza went, so they checked the cameras. Darren, in the cafeteria alone, helping himself to a tray of pepperoni while the entire school was outside. The footage had a timestamp, 12:02. That's 2 minutes after the fire alarm went off. He was suspended on the spot, and there were rumors about legal charges. But nobody knows what really happened because the kid actually never came back to that school. All we know is Darren got his pizza. But at what cost? Genius ways people cheated on a test. This dude said that when he was in high school, one of his buddies stole the final exam out of the teacher's desk when she wasn't looking. That day, they took the test home and used the textbook to fill all of the answers in. Since the test was multiple choice, this kid decided to make coded keychains with colored beads on it. The test was 50 questions long, so the keychain had 50 beads on it. A red bead was A, a blue bead was B, yellow was C, and green was D. It would start with the first bead on the top as question 1 and go down from there. He then attached that keychain to his car keys and just left his keys on top of his desk as he took the test. The best part was the teacher complimented that keychain as she was passing the test out. He said, "Thanks, my little sister made it." She thought that was so sweet. But the truth is that kid did not have a little sister. Genius. Genius ways kids cheated on a test. This teacher shared this story. On this particular day, they were taking a test in one of this teacher's classes. A kid comes in. He sits by the window. The kid then asks the teacher if he could open the window because it's kind of warm in the room. The teacher says sure. The kid opens the window. She passes out the test. That kid scribbles something down for about 30 minutes and then asks to use the bathroom. The kid then came back, finished the test, and turned it in. So what happened here? Where's the twist? When the kid opened the window, he also opened the screen. After he got his test, he secretly dropped it out of the window. The test fell to the ground where his friend was waiting. His friend was incredibly smart. His friend took the test to the bathroom and filled it out himself. Now the kid, back in the room, had to make it look like he was working on his test. So he was scribbling nonsense on a piece of notebook paper. When he asked to go to the bathroom, he met up with his friend. His friend gave him the test. He came back to class and he turned it in. He got an A on that test. The teacher would have had no idea that this happened if it hadn't been for another student who snitched. But I gotta say, that's absolutely genius. Delivery drivers' worst experiences. One night, this dude was delivering KFC to a house. He gets there and he knocks on the door. A middle school-aged kid then opens the door. He then yells upstairs to his friends. "Hey guys, the chicken idiot is here! The chicken idiot is here!" That's when about 8 other kids appear at the top of the stairs, and they started throwing coins down to pay for the chicken. Chicken idiot. Can you guys just hand me the money, please? After he asked that, they started throwing the coins harder. Chicken man, stupid chicken man. That's when he snapped. These kids made him so angry that he picked up their bag of chicken and chucked it at their wall. Hey, what the heck? And he left. He told his boss what happened when he got back to the KFC. Those kids' parents later called to complain, but the boss had this guy's back. He simply told those kids' parents to screw off. Epic. Awesome ways kids cheated on a test. In high school, this kid was in band. Well, he had a test later in the day that he didn't study for at all. Well, he managed to get a copy of that test from another student who had that same class earlier in the day. So he got a copy of that test. That test was entirely multiple choice. During band class, he Googled all of the answers. And on a piece of empty sheet music, he wrote those answers as notes. A, B, C, and D. When he got to the class where he was having that test, the teacher passed it out and asked everyone to clear off their desks. So he set his sheet music on the ground, facing up. And all he had to do was glance down and look at the notes on the sheet and fill in the answers based on what note it was. That is absolutely genius. So I had another weird dream last night and I want to show you something. Every so often when I have a really vivid dream, I want to write them down. And that's because when you write down your dreams every night, it helps you remember them more often. And when you remember your dreams more often, you're more likely to have a lucid dream, which is a dream that you know you are dreaming and you can do whatever you want, which is obviously awesome. So I use this app called Yoru X. I wake up from my dream in the middle of the night, I open up the app, and all you gotta do is press this button. And bingo, there you are. You can write down your dream right there. The coolest part about this is that the app will actually generate an AI image of your dream. It'll also interpret it for you. You can label it if it was a lucid dream or a nightmare, and you can make your dream diary entries public or private if you want. Check out this person's. They had a dream about a sorcery school. They wrote it down, the app interpreted the dream for them, and this is the AI-generated image that the app made for that dream. Download it, write down your dreams for a whole week, and let me know the craziest dream you had. Check it out.
Okay, so I have the bulldog ramen, but this time it's 2 times spicy. So I thought this one was spicy, but this one looks crazy.
Now we're gonna boil some water. Now that it's boiling, we put this into the boiling for 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes, now we drain the water. Now it says to add the 2 times spicy hot sauce. Then you add, last step is the pepper flakes. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I think if you like spicy stuff, this is gonna be awesome for you. I'm not sure how I'm gonna handle it, so I'm gonna take one bite. Let's see. Delicious, but very, very spicy.
His friend's house had the weirdest rule ever. This dude said when he was younger, he was spending the weekend at one of his friend's house. They were in the kitchen getting snacks when his friend casually said, "Hey bro, don't eat the last chip." He grabbed the chip bag that his friend was talking about. He opened it and looked inside. There was literally 1 chip left in this bag. 1 chip. Why not? Because the last chip is for the house. What? He laughed. He thought he was joking and he popped that chip in his mouth. He ate it. Okay. A few moments later, the mom walked into the kitchen and saw that the last chip had been eaten from this chip bag. Who finished it? There was only 1 chip left. She just stared at him. That doesn't matter. The last chip is for the house. Always. He figured it was just a weird moment. Him and his friend went about their night. They were playing video games, just chilling. The next morning, this kid goes looking for some cereal in a cabinet, and that's when he saw it. Dozens of snack bags, all of them open, each with exactly one chip left. At this point, he was like, what is going on with his family? Bro, what is this? That's the house's cabinet, and those are the house's chips. Did you not listen to my mom yesterday? Bro, what? At that point, this kid was just hungry. He called his mom, and she came to pick him up. What is with these weird families, man? No one's buying my bags of chips. I bought so much to sell at school today, but I haven't sold one. Bro, it's because everyone goes to the vending machine. Are your chips cheaper than the vending machine? No, man, they're more expensive. I'm trying to make bank. No, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Fine, man. Hold on. I have an idea. Hello, vending machine, my enemy. Shut your mouth. I'm gonna unplug you. Oh, I'm gonna unplug you. And now I wait.
Excuse me, I just want to get to the vending machine.
Unfortunately, it's out of order. It's not working.
Oh, really? I wanted some barbecue chips so bad.
You're in luck today. I actually have a bag full of chips for sale. $4.
$4? The vending machine's only $2.
Well, the vending machine isn't working, is it?
Fine, I'll take them. Here.
And here you go. Tell your friends. Today's gonna be a good day. Craziest things found in fast food. In 2015, this man, Mr. Dixon, went to a KFC. He ordered the chicken tender meal to go, and he took them home to eat them. But as he was sitting down enjoying these chicken tenders, one of them tasted strange and was kind of chewy. He then gave that piece a closer look, and he saw what looked to be a deep-fried mouse. Completely disgusted, he took a picture of it and posted it on Facebook. The next day, he took it back to the KFC, and he told the manager. And the manager freaked out and said, "Yes, I am so sorry, that is a mouse. Would you like a free meal?" she said. He declined the meal, took that fried piece of mouse back home, and hired a lawyer. But the people at KFC corporate were not buying it. They had this guy send that mouse to their offices to be tested. And I guess it was actually chicken and not a mouse? That seems a little sketchy because that manager was pretty sure it was a mouse. My favorite comebacks. Hey, Carla. What do you want now, Stacy? No, I'm not gonna be mean, I promise. I heard that you had a crush on Jeremy and you're gonna ask him to the dance. Yeah, that's true. I'm pretty sure he's gonna say yes too. That is so exciting. I'm so happy for you. Hold on, I have to make a quick phone call. Hello, is this Jeremy? Yeah, hi, this is Stacy from geometry class. Hey, you wanna go to the dance with me? The one on Friday? Oh, you'll have to let me know? Just let me know as soon as you can. He'll say yes to me. Watch. Fine, take him to the dance, Stacy. Once he figures out how dumb you are, he'll ghost you. I am not dumb. Yeah, you are. You stay after school every day to get tutored. That is such a lie. No, it's not. I stayed late last week for musical auditions and I saw you. I took a video. 7 plus 7 is 17. Oh my god, no. The dumbest school rules ever. This one elementary school had a rule where a student, if they were feeling sick, would not be able to go home or call their parents unless they had a fever or puked. Well, one day, this kid's stomach was super messed up. He wasn't feeling good at all. Miss, can I go to the nurse's office, please? Ow. So he goes to the nurse's office. So it's a stomach ache, huh? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it hurts so bad. Well, you don't have a fever, and you didn't throw up, and you can't stay here. I have to send you back to class. I'm sorry. Are you serious? Yeah, you know the rules. Well, this made him super mad, because his stomach was actually hurting pretty bad. So he stared at her, and with incredible focus and pure dedication, he somehow managed to get himself to throw up right on the nurse. Can I go home now? The school changed that rule shortly after that. Yet another one. This middle school wouldn't let their students talk at all during lunch. Apparently, this is a very common rule. But at one middle school, there was a group of friends that wanted to beat the system. So over the course of a few months, they all individually learned sign language. They became fluent, and they started talking to each other during lunch with sign language only. Oh my god, what are they doing? Dear God. Do they all learn sign language? Can they do that? Are they allowed to do that? I'll get the principal. And they couldn't do anything about it, because sign language technically isn't talking. When this kid was in 4th grade, his glasses broke. Oh man. But it didn't really matter, because in most of his classes he sat in the front row, so he could still see. Well, after a few days of going to class without his glasses, one of his teachers said, "Kyle, I see you still don't have your glasses. Are they still broken?" "Yeah, but it's fine. I can still see the board." The thing with this teacher, though, was that she would always write assignments on the board for students to work on during class. She would never explain the assignments. Students would just read the board and then do their work. But anyway, she said, "Kyle, it's been 4 days now. Your parents should have gotten you new glasses at this point. You're sitting in the back of the class." Okay. Alright, so this is what needs to be done before the end of class, okay? Get to work. Oh, I can't see it. What the heck? Sit down, Kyle. Hey, Stacy, can you tell me what the board says? Yeah, it says, Stacy, don't you dare tell him what it says. I'm teaching him a frickin' lesson. I hate my life. This school is super sus. This one high school had this weird thing, where in every single bathroom, the toilet paper rolls weren't inside the stalls. They were outside on the wall. So anybody that had to go into a stall had to take enough toilet paper before they got in there. But if you didn't grab enough, or you forgot, you were screwed. Oh no. Oh no, I forgot to grab toilet paper. Hello? Hello, is anyone in here? Oh, God. One high school, there was a science teacher who was a bit older. He was a pretty nice guy, but he sweat all the time. All right, and that is evolution. Is it hot in here or is it just me? I'm sweating up a storm. Well, he would do this super weird, gross thing every single day. He had this plant on his desk, and towards the end of class, every single day, he would take off his shirt in front of everybody and wring out his sweaty shirt into the plant. Sir, what are you doing? Plants need water, Kyle. What do you think I'm doing? He was eventually fired because taking your shirt off in class is frowned upon. Makes sense. Who shared the story said that 7 years after he graduated high school, he got a phone call. What is this? Hello? It was his old high school senior English teacher. And this is what she told him.
Hi, Carl. Yeah, this is Mrs. Stevens from the high school you went to.
Oh, hi. What is going on?
Hi, I'm calling because I just found out that 7 years ago, I accidentally miscalculated your final grade. You were supposed to get an F. And that means you weren't supposed to graduate high school. So we're letting you know that we're taking away your diploma, okay?
What?
Yeah, so you're gonna have to come back and finish one more class if you want your diploma, okay? Alright, bye-bye.
What? The funny part is, this dude already had his bachelor's degree, and he was working at a very high-paying company. This has to be the most petty school in the world. To call someone 7 years after they graduated to say that they actually failed the final? That's crazy. Get out of here. Craziest teachers ever. At one middle school, there was a teacher that had a samurai sword, and he kept it in his trunk. Well, every time there was a fire drill, his students would line up right by where his car was parked. And every time there was a fire drill, he would show kids his samurai sword. All right, next. Whoa, that's amazing. Can I hold it? Oh, you want to hold it? Yeah, sure. I'm kidding. Next. Students loved him. The samurai sword was pretty cool too, but the school found out about this and he was fired immediately. But the response from students was overwhelming. A group of students made thousands of posters of that teacher photoshopped to look like a samurai, and they wrote, "Free my samurai homie," and placed it all around the school. Well, despite their best efforts, that teacher did not get his job back. Worst teachers of all time. At one high school, there was a student that would sometimes fall asleep during class. Well, one day this teacher had enough. She wanted to embarrass him and teach him a lesson. Kyle, wake up. What? I have had enough with you sleeping in my class. Come to the front of the classroom and explain to everyone why you're always sleeping. Miss, please, I'm sorry. Now. He gets up out of his desk and walks to the front of the classroom. When he began talking, he starts to cry a little bit. This is what he said. I hate you for making me do this. You want to know why I've been sleeping? Because my family's been having a really hard time, okay? I had to pick up 2 jobs to help them pay the bills. We almost lost our house last year. I'm just trying to help my family. Screw you. Her plan backfired, and from that day on, she became the most hated teacher at that school. Worst teachers of all time. When this kid was in 1st grade, his teacher really didn't like him. She would always call him out for things during class, and if he didn't do his homework or got an answer wrong, she would say, "If this was a job, Kyle, I would fire you." Be better next time. Well, one day, right after Christmas break had ended, he came to school with a new toy he got for Christmas, and he loved this toy. Hey, check this out. Isn't this super cool? My mom got it for me. Well, his teacher saw him with this toy in class, so she walked up to him. She took his toy, "I'll take that, thank you," and said, "Now I have a toy for my grandson." What did you do? And he never saw that toy ever again. When he was 9 years old, he had a teacher that hated him. He was kind of a chubby kid, and one time he didn't do his homework and she flipped out. "This is your workbook. You're supposed to do homework in your workbook. I don't see your homework." She was flipping through it so hard she ripped a bunch of pages. But she wasn't done. She then, in front of the entire class, started screaming at him even more. "You know what, Kyle? You're probably too busy stuffing your face with sandwiches and Twinkies that you didn't have time to do your homework. You're so fat." She then made him go to the back corner of the classroom and stand there with his hands straight up in the air until class was over. "Hands up, Kyle." He went home and told his parents what happened. The next day, they came into school with him. They went to her room and asked why she did that. To which she replied, "I'm sorry, I don't recall that happening. I think your kid might be making it up. Sorry." One day in elementary school, this girl was sitting in her class. She had asthma, and her asthma was acting up, so she was using her inhaler. Okay. Anyway, 2 plus 2 is... 2 plus 2 is 4. That's right, yeah. So, and 3 plus 3 is... Jessica, please. Are you kidding me? Apparently, the teacher couldn't teach because this girl using her inhaler was too distracting. So this is what she did. "Give me that. I'm gonna put this in the office. Whenever you want to use it, you have to go to the office to use it, okay?" Well, the next day, in that same class, that same girl was having trouble with her asthma again. So she asked, "Miss, can I go to the office? I need to use my inhaler really bad." "Not right now, Jessica. We're in the middle of a very important lesson, okay?" She had a full-blown asthma attack. To the point where the paramedics were called, and she had to be taken to the hospital. That teacher was fired the next day. In elementary school, a teacher was using the boys' bathroom when he saw something written on the stall wall. Oh my god, graffiti. Except it wasn't anything offensive or controversial. Somebody wrote "Hi" on the stall door with a Sharpie. So pretty innocent. But the school took this very seriously. That was the only boys' bathroom in the entire school, and the principal locked it until they could find out who wrote "Hi" on the bathroom door. No boys are allowed to use the bathroom until we find out who vandalized the stall. This lasted for 4 days, till one day something happened. "Miss? Yes, Billiards? I really have to use the bathroom." "You know you can't. I'm sorry, but I really have to go." "I'm sorry, unless you can tell me who vandalized the stall, I can't let you go." Well, this kid really did have to go, and he ended up peeing his pants right there in the classroom. Oh no. He told his mom what happened. She then called the principal and threatened to sue the school. The next day, that bathroom was unlocked once again. The person that shared this story went to a Catholic middle school with a dress code and everything. A part of that dress code was that students had to wear a tie every single day. "Good morning, everyone. Get to class. Come on, come on. Kevin, where's your tie?" And if somebody wasn't wearing a tie, they would get a detention, Kevin. You have a detention. Well, the school took this rule a little too far. There were a lot of kids that would walk home from school every day, and they wanted to extend this rule. They said,
"If you're a student that walks home, your tie must remain on until you get to your house."
Which is weird, but okay, no one's watching. Wrong. The principal hired people to stand on the main road, checking to make sure these kids who walked home had their ties still on. And if they didn't have their tie on when they were walking home, they would get a detention. That is the craziest thing I have ever heard. This teacher is bogus. When this kid was in 7th grade, he was in science class, and they were watching a wildlife documentary, which they were supposed to write an essay on afterwards. Well, this kid was a very good reader and a writer. He was far more advanced than his classmates. So he wrote his essay. He turned it in, and when he got it back, he noticed the teacher took off 25 points. "Hey, Mrs. Stevens, why did you take 25 points off of my essay?" "It's because you didn't use grade-appropriate language in your essay. I had to take some points off." "What do you mean grade-appropriate language?" "Kyle, you were using words that 7th graders shouldn't even know yet. We're in 7th grade. You should be writing like a 7th grader." "Wait, hold on. So you took points off my essay because I'm smarter than my classmates?" That's ridiculous. You're ridiculous. How dare you? The teacher then gave him a detention. He was punished for being smart. One high school had this weird thing where in every single bathroom, the toilet paper rolls weren't inside the stalls. They were outside on the wall. So anybody that had to go into a stall had to take enough toilet paper before they got in there. But if you didn't grab enough, or you forgot, you were screwed. Oh no. Oh no, I forgot to grab toilet paper. Hello? Hello, is anyone in here? Oh, God. The way this school handled this situation makes me so mad. So my follower sent me the story of something that happened to him in 8th grade. He's Puerto Rican. And there was this kid that really hated him for no reason. That guy was on the football team. He was super mean to our dude. And he made fun of him all the time for being Puerto Rican. Sounds a little racist to me. Anyway, one day in gym class, this kid and his friend were standing in line behind the mean football player. And out of nowhere, the dude turns around and looks at him and says, "Why don't you get out of my country? You don't belong here." Now, our guy was used to this, so he didn't say anything. But his friend who was with him said, "Yo, we should go to the office and tell them what just happened. This is not okay." So they did. The principal said they would talk to this football player and that he would probably get suspended. All right, cool. But guess what? Nothing happened. The kid never got in trouble at all. Instead, our guy was called back into the office and was given detention because the school said he was lying about the whole situation. Man, that sucks. These schools need to do better. Things teachers did. Some teachers like to play calming music during tests to keep the students calm and focused. Well, this one teacher at this one high school played something a little different. Whenever students were taking a test, he would just play dolphin noises on a loop. I can't focus with this crap playing. Oh my god, same, it's hurting my ears. Quiet, listen to the music and do your test, please. Love this song. That's wild. At a private middle school, this kid and his friends opened up a casino in the cubby room during lunch. They only knew how to play blackjack, so that is what they played. Well, it started off small. They were betting things like chips and pudding cups, but soon after, everyone was betting their lunch money. Well, one of the kids that started this was a hustler, and he was winning everyone's money. Another kid was salty about this, so he told the teacher, and the principal shut the casino down for good, and that kid got suspended. That's crazy. My favorite comebacks. This is what I would say to someone who made fun of the way I dressed. Hey Kyle, what do you want, Chad? You dress like a frickin' grandpa, bro. Oh, really? Yeah. That must be why your mom calls me daddy. Black markets kids ran in their schools, a follower submission. When this kid was in middle school, he had a friend whose dad taught him how to cook at a very young age. Some of the things his friend could cook very well are cheesesteaks and cheese fries. Well, one day this kid was at school and he heard his classmates complaining about how terrible the cafeteria food is. So he had a brilliant idea. Every night he would meal prep a handful of cheesesteaks and cheese fries. And every morning before school, he would heat the food up and put it in one of those insulated bags to keep it warm. He would sell a cheesesteak with a side of cheese fries for $9 each. And if you wanted one, you would have to meet him at his locker in the morning before class. Well, word spread pretty quick. And like I said, he would only make a handful of these every day, so supply was very limited. Business was absolutely booming and he sold out every single day. Eventually, as this goes, the school found out and his business was shut down. However, in total, this kid made $750. You gotta respect the hustle. The dumbest reasons people got in trouble at school. In elementary school, this person was out playing during recess. You're stupid. Hey! It had rained the night before, and this kid noticed a small puddle. Oh, a puddle. He walked over to it, and then he got an idea. Flamingo. Flamingo. He proceeded to stand in the puddle on one leg like a flamingo would, and he stood there and didn't move for 10 minutes. Just a kid pretending to be a flamingo. I probably would have done the same thing. But a teacher noticed this, and instead of chuckling to himself or just brushing it off, he got very, very mad for some reason. You! What are you doing? I'm a flamingo, Mr. Johnson. Flamingo my ass. I can't believe you. Principal's office now, you're getting a detention. but I'm a flamingo.
No.
I hate my life. Weirdest household rules ever. When this kid was like 8 years old, he was hanging out at his friend's house, and they were playing video games in his friend's room upstairs. Well, this kid had to pee very bad, so he went to the bathroom on the second floor of the house, and he started peeing. Well, somehow his friend's mom knew he was peeing in that upstairs bathroom, and she rushed up there and started banging on the door. Excuse me, what are you doing in here? Kyle? You better not be peeing. She said he couldn't pee in that bathroom because this bathroom is for nighttime peeing only, and it's daytime right now. You can't be peeing in here. So she made this kid stop peeing midstream, and she sent him to the downstairs bathroom to finish. When he finished and left the downstairs bathroom, she was standing there waiting for him. I bet you learned your lesson, huh? Yeah, I called your mom. She's on her way to get you right now. You are never allowed here ever again. Never again. I was almost mugged, but this is how I got out of it. I was walking home to my apartment on a cold, snowy Chicago evening, and I decided to take a shortcut. As I was walking through the alleys, I heard someone behind me yell, "Hey man, come here." And because it was late and I was skeptical, I just kept on walking, but he started following me. It was definitely a little sus. This is the point where I started straight up running to my apartment. I'm running and this guy's chasing me. I finally see the back of my apartment when I slip and fall on a big sheet of ice. At this point, the guy was catching up to me and I was like, alright, he's gonna get me, oh well. And I just started crying, screaming, flailing around. And what I didn't know at the time is that when I fell on the ice, my pants fell down too. And this guy gets to me, and I'm preparing for the worst. But I guess my pantsless screaming self made him feel very uncomfortable because all he said was, "Oh hell no," and he ran away. And that's how I avoided being mugged. Facts about celebrities that nobody really talks about. Matthew Perry from Friends lost a part of his middle finger after he slammed it in a car door when he was 3 years old. You can see it right here in this screenshot from a Friends episode. Elvis Presley was actually a natural blonde, but he started using black shoe polish to darken his hair because he thought it made him more handsome. Denzel Washington has dislocated his pinky finger so many times that sometimes it just falls out of place. In 1978, Tim Allen, known for his roles in Home Improvement and The Santa Claus, was caught with 1.4 pounds of cocaine on him. He was facing some serious prison time, but he snitched on other dealers in exchange for a smaller sentence. When Angelina Jolie was 22, she hired a hitman to kill her. She was going through a really tough time and wanted to escape, but the hitman was a decent enough person to ask her if that's what she really wanted. He told her to think about it and call him in 2 months. Well, she changed her mind. She said something changed, and she decided to stick it out. The worst things people did in school. One day in middle school, one of the popular students wanted to mess with a kid that was bullied often. They were in class, and when this kid went to the bathroom, the popular kid cut the straps of his backpack. Hey, watch this. A few minutes after the kid got back, he noticed. What the heck? Did you do this? Loser. Turns out that kid's family didn't have a lot of money at all, so for the rest of the school year he had to carry around his backpack in his hands because he couldn't afford a new one.
Nice backpack, loser.
Kids that were legends in their high school. A follower submission. This guy sent me a story of how he became popular at his school. Recently, this guy moved to a brand new school. He had no friends and nobody knew who he was. Well, one day in class, he heard one of the popular kids say, "I'm hungry for some pizza." And that gave him an idea. He asked to go to the bathroom, and when he was in the bathroom, he went on DoorDash and ordered a few pizzas to be delivered to the school. The pizzas arrived when he was still in class, so he told the driver just to leave it in the office with his name on it. When lunch came around, he went to the office, grabbed the pizzas, and found that popular kid who said he was hungry for pizza, and gave him a whole box. That kid and his friends were hyped. He then took the other pizzas and sold a few slices to other students. He made $20, but after that, he was no longer a nobody. He became pretty popular, and now everyone calls him the Pizza Boy. Nice. This man tried to get revenge on somebody that killed him in a video game. Julien Barreau was a 20-year-old Counter-Strike player living in France. But one day in the game, someone stabbed him and killed his character. Well, that did not make him happy at all. He spent months hunting down the opponent that killed him, and he eventually found him. He entered his house and stabbed him multiple times. Luckily, the victim survived. The knife missed his heart by centimeters. The judge called Barreau a menace to society and sentenced him to 2 years in prison and anger management lessons. I feel like they went too easy on him. What do you think? Craziest things teachers caught their students with. This teacher said that one day when he was trying to give a student a detention, the student pulled out an Uno switch card and genuinely thought that would get him out of it. That's not how it works, my friend. This next teacher said that one day he confiscated a makeshift taser from one of his students. The kid had rigged it by using multiple 9-volt batteries, wire, tape, and a button that was taken off from a toy. And the last one. At this one elementary school, a student came in with a bag. The teacher was kind of concerned, so she looked inside the bag. And turns out there was a live baby in there. Apparently this kid wanted to show her friends her brand new little brother. My question is, how'd the parents let this happen? Sus. This dude's parents need to chill. When this guy was 20 years old, he still lived with his parents, which isn't that weird. What is weird is that he had a strict bedtime of 8 p.m. every night. Hey son, what are you doing? I'm playing video games. What's up? It's getting there. It's 7:55. Almost bedtime. I'll check back in at 8. Yeah, okay. Thanks. If he ever slept over at a friend's house, he had to call his parents at 8 p.m. to tell them he was going to bed. In this instance, he was at his friend's 21st birthday party. Dude, that's hilarious. Get out of here. Hey, me and you, beer pong partners, okay? We're playing next. Oh, I'm so down. Wait, hold on. What time is it? It's 8:05. All right, hold on 1 second. Oh, he's calling right now. Hello? Hey Dad, yeah, just calling to let you know I'm laying down, I'm gonna go to bed, okay? Alright, sounds good. Hey, you're 5 minutes late, but I'll let it slide this time. Sweet dreams, buddy. Alright, bye Dad, love you. Let's play some beer pong. That's absurd.
Let me get them candies actually. And she sent me the Cash App. She got some chips. He got some chips. She even got some other candies. She even got some Starburst and Skittles and Airheads. And then he got some chips. He sent the Cash App. She wanted some chips. She gave me a 10 and I spent like 40.
That's like a speed round of making bank. That guy knows what he's doing. From the video, it didn't seem like he had any set prices, you know, so business looked like it was booming for him. So good for him. Congratulations. All right, let's see what this one is.
Full video right here.
Genius ways people cheated on tests. In middle school, this dude and his best friend had every single class together. Well, he had a hard time in school, but his best friend was super smart. Well, they came up with a brilliant idea. Yeah, dude, I don't know, I keep failing the tests. I try to study, but it's just so hard. That sucks, dude, I'm getting straight A's. Shut up, dude, I know. Hey, can you tutor me? I don't got time for that, bro, but I have an even better idea. Students were actually allowed to eat during class, especially tests, and most of the tests at the school were multiple choice. A, B, C, or D. Whenever there was a test, his smart friend would bring a bag of M&Ms to class. When the test began, the smart kid would eat an M&M for every single question. Like I said, these tests were mostly multiple choice. Well, if he ate a red M&M, it would mean A. If he ate a yellow, it would mean B. Orange, C, and blue, D. So this kid would just sit back and fill in the answers based on what M&M his friend ate. And this plan worked brilliantly. He started passing all the tests. They were a good team, and the only reason they got caught is because some kid snitched on them. They both got detention, and the school changed the eating in class rule. This kid was betrayed by his best friend. So in middle school, this dude started selling snacks. He would go out and buy snacks for pretty cheap and sell them at school for a profit. He did this for a while, and he was making pretty decent money, until one day he got caught. But he didn't want to stop the business, so he asked his friend if he could be a salesman for him. Nothing would change. This kid would still go out and buy the product, but his friend would be the one selling it instead. And he would get $30 a week for doing this. He thought $30 a week was totally fine, but apparently his friend wanted more than that. At the end of every day, if there was any product left, his friend would return it to him and give him the money he made that day. After a while, this kid realized that the money wasn't adding up. It was short, and he eventually found out that his friend had been stealing from him. That's when he said, okay, screw you, you're fired, I'm just gonna sell it again myself. If I get caught, oh well. And their friendship was over. They had been friends for years, but this kid couldn't handle the betrayal, so they went their separate ways. Black markets kids ran in their schools, a follower submission. When this dude was in 6th grade, he started selling snacks. Candy, cookies, chips, Takis, everything. He would bring bags of them to school and sell out almost every single day. Eventually, he hired 7th and 8th graders to sell to their grades. He was making $400 a week, but he got money hungry. He had an idea to make some extra cash. So during lunch, he would host Beyblade battles, and people went crazy for it. He charged an entry fee, and people started battling and betting their stuff. Until one day, a teacher used the bathroom. He walked in on a group of kids betting and battling Beyblades. That kid was then suspended, and his businesses were shut down.
বাইকটা নিচে রাখাস।
সকালে উঠিয়া আমি মনে মনে বলি।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওয়ালাইকুম সালাম।
প্রত্যেকদিন বাচ্চাদের পড়ান?
সবাইকে কি বলছি, বাসায় গিয়া এই পড়াটা পড়তে হবে, ঠিক আছে? এখন ছুটি, বাসায় যাও। আপনাকে অনেকবার বলছি এরকম রাস্তাঘাটে আমার সাথে কথা বলবেন না, বিরক্ত করবেন না।
কেন? লোকটা কে?
আমি জানতাম তুমি রাজি হবে।
আপনি কে?
আপনার অঞ্চলের খাবার অসাধারণ। তাই তো কেন ফোন যায় না? না, তোমার নাম্বারটা তাড়াতাড়ি করে বলো।
ঘন্টার পর তো গার্লফ্রেন্ডের লেগে ওয়েট করতে পারো, আর বন্ধুর লেগে 2 মিনিট ওয়েট করতে পারবা না?
ও এখন আমার দোস্ত, তাইলে তো বন্ধু রিত লেগে গেল।
আরে বেটা এত লাফাইস না, যেরকম শুনতেছি পরীর মতো এরকম করলে তো বেটা।
বাদ দে, কালকে 4টা দেখা হবে।
ঠিক আছে মামা।
ঠিক আছে মামা।
ঠিক মতো যা।
শালা পারলাম না রে।
আরে তোর তো হাওয়াটা কি হয়ে গেল? তুলি, তুই তো সুন্দর নাম। আরে শুন, আমি জিসান, আই লাভ ইউ।
আপনাদের তো চিনলাম না। আমার বড় বোনের যে দেবরগুলো আছেন তো সবাইকেই চিনি, বাট আপনাদেরকে তো চিনি না।
যাইতে দে, আর আমার খালা লাগে। কোথায় বলটা? ভালোবাসা যে এত প্যারা, এত কষ্ট, এত জ্বালা যন্ত্রণা, জানলে ভালোই বাসতাম। জিসান আর তুলির ভালোবাসার ইতিহাস তাই রক্ত লাগবে।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম দুলা ভাই।
আরে শালা, ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। কি খবর, কেমন আছো? বান্ধবীও তো যায় না, এতবার ফোন দিলাম ফোনও ধরতেছে না। তুমি একটা ফোন দাও তো, ফোন বের করো।
কি বলেন দুলা ভাই, ও যায় নাই? কথা হইছে, ভাইয়া বলছে যে ভাইয়া আমাদের কোচিং এর সামনে আর আসবে না, আর তোকে ডিস্টার্বও করবে না।
জানো না
দারুণ না? আমি 1 থেকে 3 গুনবো না বাবা। প্রেম হইলেই হবে, প্রেম হইলে এমনি ডিফারেন্স হবে বাবা। আমার খালি ওরে দরকার। তুমি পড়ো, ঘুমাতে এলে গুড নাইট, আর বাই।
সহজে কোনো কিছু পাওয়ার মজা নাই, কিন্তু আমগো দোস্ত জিসান কি কম?
ও
ভাবি লাগে বেটা, লজ্জা লাগে না?
কি ওর কথা বাদ দে,
তুই যা।
জামুই তো।
তুই চুপ থাক।
আমি তো কিন্তু চিনি না।
চিনো না যে আজকে চিনলা, আরো চিনবা, আস্তে আস্তে চিনবা। আর শুনো,
আরে বেন সাহেব, নতুন নতুন সম্বন্ধ তো তাই চিনতে পারেন নাই।
ওই যে আপনার বান্ধবী তুলি আছে না?
আমার তাহলে বিশাল বিপদ, আমি তাহলে কোচিং এ কেমনে যাব, পড়াশোনা কিভাবে করব, আমার তো ভয় লাগতেছে।
কি খবর?
আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। কি খবর? 3 2 1। আর আজকে রাত 10টা, হ্যাঁ? রক্ত কেন? ইতিহাস লিখবো, ভালোবাসার ইতিহাস।
ভালো আছি, আপনি ভালো আছেন?
আমি তো ভালো আছি, তো তোমার বোন কোথায়?
আচ্ছা একটা মিনিট, আমি কল দিচ্ছি। এক রাতে ভালো হয়ে গেল, এটাও আমার বিশ্বাস করতে হবে? দোস্ত আমার না ভয় লাগতেছে।
এই কি করবি? চেনা চেহারা না হলো কি চেহারা, কথা তো বেশি চেহারা ওরকম বেশি।
আপনি না শুই না দেখা সব জানা ফেলছেন বাবা।